Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's presentation as part of the Industry Insight webinar series. The topic this time is tips for selecting a legal management solution. Speaking today will be Tom Mulligan of Thomson Reuters Elite. The Industry Insight webinar series is hosted by the ABA Legal Technology Resource Center. To stay updated on upcoming webinars or view previous videos, visit ambar.org/industryinsight. You can also stay updated on legal technology news through our blog, www.lawtechnologytoday.org. Tom has extensive knowledge of the legal industry, law office business processes, and legal technology. He has over 18 years of experience working with private law firms in the areas of practice and workflow efficiencies, billing, accounting, and financial management best practices. The presentation today will be followed by a Q&A. Please enter your questions into the question box in the webinar panel on the right side of your screen. All of these questions will be addressed at the end of the presentation. We are recording this webinar, and we will be sending the video and a follow-up email in a few days. You can also keep an eye on our blog again, which is www.lawtechnologytoday.org. Thank you all for joining us today, and we'll now begin the webinar.
Good morning and good afternoon to you all, and thanks for joining. Although this is a vendor-sponsored session, I don't want to make this an advertisement for my company's software. That said, I will be relying on that software to provide some visual aids. The past 10 years or so, we have seen significant growth in the use of practice management software in mid-sized firms. With well-designed applications properly implemented in a firm, considerable efficiencies can be gained, ultimately improving attorney-staff ratios, and by extension, greater profitability for the firm. This being the case, many firms with no case management software in place or with inadequate or unused programs feel the need to find systems which will fit their firm well and fulfill that promise of greater efficiency. So how is this done? Let's examine the nature of the problem first. When information is siloed in 2 or more databases over different software systems, each of which has its own personality, and we've all experienced how every software program is unique in the way that it thinks or behaves, this essentially guarantees errors. The same data needs to be entered in 2 or more places. It will not always be entered the same way each time. So not only will you get errors, more employee time is burned up in the process. Lots of firms struggle with this, often buying more databases in an attempt to corral the information. A recent survey conducted by ILTA, International Legal Technology Association, found that law firms are using a plethora of databases in their day-to-day activities, and it's increasing. Another ILTA survey indicates that 24% of firms surveyed acquired database systems in 2014 or plan to buy them in 2015. The same issues apply to the firm's practice as well as its financial side. So our tip here is to consider a single system with one database. Such a system would provide easy access to the same information for everyone and guarantee the data need only be entered or updated once. The word integration is used in many ways. There's a wide range of degrees of integration. A vendor can acquire a number of applications and add links between them and legitimately deem them as integrated. But when all the data, both practice and financial related, can be accessed in one program, one interface, then you really have the benefits of integration. So our tip here is to cover all the bases: financial, including time and billing and accounting, case management, contact management or client relationship management, document and email management, task management, scheduling or workflow, and if your practice involves litigation, then docketing too. And finally, firm-wide reporting. If you miss even one of these, you still have the issue of either entering data multiple times or dealing with maintaining a connection between 2 systems which were not designed to work together. So let's look at an example or two about how this works in practice. I have here in front of us a dashboard. The idea here is to give each user a unique view with the menu that they ought to have. So we talked about access to information. Obviously, you must segment that access to that information based on the role of the person in the firm. A legal assistant or a secretary would not be able to see the same kind of financial information that a partner would, for instance. So having security set up accordingly so that permissions are granted as they should be throughout the users of a firm is definitely important. This view, or this dashboard, if you will, secures that, and each user would have access to only what he or she should. Across the top here, I have a menu, for instance. This menu may include more or less access to various parts of this program, this all-encompassing program. The buttons, just in this example, contact management is first, case management or matter management second, case management as far as activities, tracking location of hard copy files, time and billing, accounting, billing lookups, and then finally reporting on the end. So one user may have a few of these buttons. Another user might have most or all of them. This would be secured based on each user's particular role. Then the other pieces of this dashboard, I have a calendar view, obviously. I have a gauge that shows where my firm is with its AR. This particular firm is about to go under, apparently, with over 90% of its AR more than 90 days late. And I can see that with the color coding. So the idea here is not to give me details that I might drown in reading through, but rather a big picture that tells me quickly if you're in good shape, bad shape, or somewhere in between. Similarly, I can see hours billed and worked each month this year and compare it to the hours worked in the previous year. I can see what's on my calendar for the day, and if I want to switch over on a tab here back and forth from the calendar to another graph, this shows me as a individual timekeeper in this make-believe firm how much time I've worked month by month so far this year, and how much the value of that time is accumulated to be year to date. On the bottom left, I can see how much of my work is sitting in WIP, and then to the right of that, how much of my time or how much of my work is sitting in AR waiting to be paid. So lots of information that would be unique to me, a particular user in this firm, the things that I have access to, the things that I have responsibility for, and so on. This can be changed, as I said, for each user, or each user might change their own view from time to time or have an administrator change it for them. I can also have other reports or information that can be brought into this by sliding it. So maybe I want to have a news feed from outside that I can check on from time to time. So lots of things to make this dashboard an important part of a user's, of an employee's daily work, and it attracts them to it because of that. So let's look at an example or two of how this might be used. Starting from the calendar, I see I have a task scheduled for me today to prepare an engagement letter. If I click on that, it opens to a particular matter, the matter to which that task is related, and it highlights that task in a list of other activities related to this matter. The activities in this view are gathered together in folders with names designed by the particular firm. And the thing I clicked on my calendar was a task, and it's in that folder called Tasks. So I see that here. And since that's been highlighted, all of this information on the right-hand side has to do with that one item in the list. The little arrow here indicates to users that there's something related to this task. If I click on the arrow, I see what's related. In this case, it's a template for the document I need to prepare. And another task due in a few days to follow up on whether this signed engagement letter has been returned. I might be a timekeeper in this firm, so I could, with a hotkey or a button with my mouse, open up a time entry window. This software knows where I am in the program. I'm in a particular matter, so it's filled in the name of that matter, the client's name, and the matter's ID as well for me. So really all I need to do is keep track of my time and then save this as a time entry. I might want to use a timer so that I can go about my work and come back to it and see how much time has elapsed, or I could just manually fill in the units here, the number of hours worked. But let's use the timer. I'll turn that on. Now in this software, the timer runs rather fast, but most of our users don't mind that. That was a joke. Now I'll highlight the template, the name of the template that I need to use to build the document I'm assigned to build. Having highlighted that rather, a button on the right that says Create Document will merge the data from this Carrington matter, the matter that we're in, and build a document for me. So there's that document now. It's brought in the client name and address. It's referred the name of the matter and the matter ID here. It's got some boilerplate language, and then a prompt to put in more text with the signatures and so on the bottom. So this could be any kind of a template, but this particular one is used in this example. So I'll save that document now. That has now saved that document to the document management system built into this software. So I can find that document in the future using any of the electronic tags that have just been appended to it, the client's name, the matter's name, the matter ID, the type of document that it is, the class or category of the document that it is, the name of the document that I would give it, plus the full text of the document is indexed as well. And I can use any of those things alone or in combination with each other to find that document in the future now. So all that's happened simply by me saving the document. Okay, so I might say I'm finished with this now. Remember that I have a time entry that I can go to, turn off the timer, and then click on this to save the time entry. So I've saved my time, and that's all well and good. But maybe I'm not the kind of user who remembers to enter his or her time, and I might need more help. I might need a prompt here and there. So let me back up here. Go to an administrative screen. What I'm going to do now is help this user enter his or her time. So I'll go to this administrative screen. I'll say that I want to automatically start the timer and keep track of time when this user is viewing a matter. So the effect that has, if I retrace my steps now and I click on this task, prepare engagement letter, and I go through the steps that I went through before, I build a document, and I'm finished now with that document. I might want to mark this task as complete as well. So notice there's a field right here that says done. I can put a date in there if I want to. It has a pop-up calendar and clock, or I can just type now, and it'll put the current date and time in for me. And then when I close this matter, there's my time entry. So I see that 4/10 of an hour was logged, and I might say, yes, that looks right, or I could override that and say, no, I wasted a little time there. It was really 2/10 of an hour, and put that in its place. And then I'll say I do want to save that time entry. So that way I've completed my work, and I've captured my time, didn't even have to remember to do it. The software prompted me. It's also told me here that I forgot something. I forgot to put in a narrative. Most time entry systems use shortcuts, abbreviation codes, that kind of thing, and this software is no different. So I might put in a code there, and now I can save that time entry. So in that way, users can be prompted to enter time both within ProLaw and outside of ProLaw. We know that even though this is an all-encompassing program, we do not do the same things that Word does or that Outlook does with email and calendaring, or some other Office applications do. So when you're in Outlook working on your email, you can have that same kind of prompt to enter time when an email is sent or when a read email is closed. Same thing in Word. As I save a document, I can have a prompt to enter my time each time I save a document in Word or Adobe or Excel. So we've, in this software, spent a lot of time figuring out ways to capture time where users typically spend that time outside of the case management software. One more example here, and notice that task that was on the top of my day for the calendar is gone now. Since that was marked complete, it disappears from my task list for today. It does not disappear from the system. I can go and see that as a completed task in the Matter or in other places. But from my calendar, which is designed to show me what I need to do today, that is now gone because it's been satisfied. Now let's say that this appointment here, a conference call with expert, name Mark Draper. If I want to preview that maybe before the call, again, if I click on it, it will open the matter to which that conference call is related. And it's highlighted here at the bottom, which means all of this information on the right is related to that conference call that's scheduled. So I see I have some telephone number information here that I can use to call. But I want to find out, we'll say, what I can about this Mark Draper character, this expert that I'm going to be talking to. Perhaps I don't know him. I've never worked with him. If I click on this tab here, I can find outside parties that are related to this event. And there's Mark Draper's name. I can double-click on his name or click on the icon for contacts. This will open the contact management system, or the CRM, Client Relationship Management System, and take me directly to Mark Draper's record. So there it is. I see he's with Fisher Draper Collins. That's nice. But what I want to know is, what's his history with my firm? What has he done with my firm before? If I click on the tab that says Related Matters, it'll show me all of the matters where Mark Draper has been a party. This information did not have to be added purposely. It was added as a matter of course. As users enter or note the names of people who have been hired to work with them on a matter, or witnesses, or whatever they might be, this is the central repository for all that information. So it simply shows, here's where this Mark Draper guy has showed up in matters before, and here's the role that your staff said he was playing in those matters. So I get this information now cumulatively, and I can see his entire history with my firm right in front of me. One more advantage of this full integration, this rich integration. And if I wanted to find out more, I could drill down on any one of these matters, read the comments that my colleagues would have made about Mark Draper's performance. Then next, I can look at this Events tab. This is designed to show activities that relate to Mark Draper, this contact that we're looking at in particular. And as you can see, I've got various folders here, phone calls, emails, deposition, and so on. I might want to look at the emails that we've had from Mark or sent to him. I might want to go into the deposition folder. Maybe there's a deposition transcript that I could open up and see how Mark handles himself in a dep. Other phone calls and so on that we've had with him might be informative as well. And then outside the four walls of my firm, if I click on this Westlaw button, I can go into various databases designed to search for individuals in the public records and find what I can about Mark Draper in those public records. Maybe jury verdicts or something like that would be useful. So again, the purpose of software like this, and there's my prompt to enter time as well. The purpose of a software program like this is to not only make it easy for users to find information, but to also alert them to related information. So I went into Mark Draper's appointment, and I found that Mark Draper had been in a number of other matters before, playing different roles. I found that there was a transcript and a deposition regarding him, some phone call notes, and some emails about to and from Mark Draper. So all that, I was alerted to the existence of that and had easy access to that information. So that's kind of the purpose, the reason for being for software like this. Now let's kind of look at how this looks globally as well. So I'll open a particular matter once again. And let me start with this general tab. This matter, its name is Ballou versus Arrow Enterprises. I can see the basic information at the top, the name of the matter, the client's name, a matter ID, a code that was assigned by the software for this matter. Then below that, everything related to the matter is organized into these tabs. The general tab shows who the client is. If the client isn't the billing party, who is a billing party, and maybe there's a split situation, and all that's described there. The practice area or area of law is very important in this software. This indicates what kind of information will be tracked, amongst other things. This one is referred to as insurance defense, but that's just one person's name, one person's label for a practice area within a firm. Firms in this software put their own names for their practice areas in a list attached to this field so that their precise names for their practice areas would be in place of the example here. It shows who in the firm is assigned to this matter and in what role. I can even see a history of changes in those roles. So lots of people were in the role of billing attorney from time to time in this matter. I can see the effective starting and ending dates for each of them, and the legal assistants, originating attorneys, whatever role names you use, this software tracks each person's role in the matters as they were assigned. I can also see the status of the matter and other things here. Billing information, if I'm allowed to see it. What hourly rate are we billing? Are there task codes or project codes required when time entries are made, and other instructions about how this is to be billed? Is there a budget for fees? Is there a budget for costs? Will we be alerted if we are approaching those budget limits or exceed them? Things like that. Related contacts. So everybody that's not a client or billing party that's related to this matter shows up here, and their role is described as well. So I have Dave North as an adverse party. I have Francis Gould as co-counsel. I have Mark Draper as an expert, as we saw earlier. Catherine Kalwitz as a judge. Scott Santoro as opposing counsel, and so on. And if I want to see more information about any of these, maybe I want to see if this opposing counsel, Scott Santoro, if anyone in my firm's been up against him before. So again, I can click on his name. It opens his contact record. And much like we did with the expert moments ago, I can go to this related matters and see where this attorney, Scott Santoro, has been related to the firm before. And I can see he's been opposing counsel many times. So I could go into these matters and see who was assigned to them, talk to my colleagues about how Mark performed, and Scott performed rather, and find out all kinds of secrets about how to work with Scott. Related matters. If there are matters related to the one that we're looking at here, I can see them, and notes about why my colleagues thought they were related. And then this events tab where we were before. This is probably one of the more important tabs in each matter screen, and we'll go into this a little bit. But I also want to point out that there are other tabs here to the right that relate to the practice area. I've got one called insurance damages, claim rep information, insurance claim rep information, medical providers, so I can track medical services that have been rendered and who rendered them. All of this relates to this insurance defense practice area. If this was something else, let's say it was a corporate matter. Now that I've changed this area of law or the practice area name, those tabs related to insurance defense are gone and replaced with the ones that I like to have in my firm with my corporate practice area. So I see domain names tracked. I see principals and shareholders, state and foreign qualifications, and another one called corporate that tracks information, again, that's related to my practice in the way I do it in my make-believe firm here. So this is all customizable, very much tailored to each firm. But let's look again at the Events tab. As I said, this tends to get all the action because it tracks activities, it tracks documents, it tracks notes to the file, reminders, all of that stuff together. We're often asked why we do that. Why do we put documents and appointments and tasks and notes and reminders all together in one place? It seems that you should have separate places for those? Well, yes and no. We think there's tremendous value in having these shown together because relationships can be depicted when they exist. And let me make a better example of that. Right now, we're looking at all of this data in folders. They're organized into these folders, and that certainly is useful in a lot of circumstances. But let's say I want to see a chronological depiction of everything that's happened in this matter. So I can change my view with a drop-down here to a date arrangement, and now I've got everything showing in the order in which it came into the matter. The icons indicate what they are, and users quickly learn what these icons mean. We use industry standard ones like this medical records of Ray Madoff here is a Word document. I can plainly see that, followed by a couple of PDFs and so on. So all of this information, I can see what it is, but maybe I'm not interested in seeing it all. I can turn on or off filters so that I hide the appointments and tasks and focus in on the documents. Or alternatively, maybe I want to see the documents maybe I want to see the appointments and tasks and not the documents. So I can pick and choose what I want to view. While I have it all in view, as I do now, maybe I look at this first thing that was logged in, a complaint served on April of 2011. The arrow, again, shows that or indicates that there are related items. So I'll click on that, and I see here that this was a docketed event. There are court rules controlling in the jurisdiction this matter occurred in how this all happened. So I see the deadlines. Looks like they were all marked off as satisfied, but I can see them. And also I see a PDF icon here, and it says scan copy of original complaint. So again, this software has showed me what I was looking for, the date of the complaint served and the related information. It's alerting me now that, hey, there's a document related to this event. Do you want to see it? And simply by clicking on that button, I can, or that icon, I can open the document and use it as I would any Adobe document or PDF. So that's a quick example then of how the relationships work. And then if I want to change my view yet again to show what's related to individual users, I can do that. So here are the people in my make-believe firm who have worked on this matter, and I can go into each of their names and see what was related to them particularly. Finally, I can arrange this by month and year. So if I wanted to find out what came in of May 2013, looks like not much happened, but there it is shown to me. And then let's go back to the folders. So again, we're looking at the same information each time, just delivered up in a different view. Subfolders can be had. So if I look under my email folder, I see I have two subfolders, one with incoming, one with outgoing email. I can look at that email. All of these emails were ones related to this matter. If I want to see the email, I can preview it. I can see the history of it. I can see that it was profiled from Outlook on this date and time by this user. If it's been accessed or other things have happened to it, if it's been forwarded or responded to and so on, all of that will appear in this grid line by line. If it's related to another matter or matters, those can be listed here, and I can see that information as well. So again, this information has to do with activities, documents, emails, notes to the file, and so on, all related to this one matter. And we also do that, as you saw, in contacts. So if there's a document related to both a matter and a contact, I'll see that a link to that document or that email in both places, the contact record to whom it's related and the matter record to which it's related. And then to find things globally, well, let's start with finding things locally within the matter. So maybe I'm looking for a document, and I know it's a summons or has the word summons. I think I meant summary. I don't know that I'd find something with summons. So there's the word summary is found deadlines related to summary judgment in a particular event. It's also found documents and looks like a task or two and a documents primarily. So now maybe I want to say I don't care about these deadlines. I want to find a document, a particular document. So I can narrow my search to only look at documents. And so now these other things will disappear and only the documents will appear. So there I've got a number of documents, emails, and so on that contain either in the name or the text of the document or email the word summary, or I could put phrases in there as well. It's a Google type search. Now let's say that I need to find a document, and it may be related to this matter. I don't know what matter it's related to, so therefore I'd want to do more of a global search. I can link right from that screen, or I can, from my dashboard, from my menu, go to a screen for global searches. And so here in this search screen for documents, I can use any information that I've got to find this document. It might be the name of the document that I suspect has been put on the document, the type, the category, the author of the document. I could put in the author's ID. I could put in a date or date range in which I think it was created. Any of this information can be used either by itself or in conjunction with each other, and including a search of full text. So I have a search here. It says limitation within 5 words of liability. So in other words, I'm looking for the term limitation of liability, but there may be some variation on that term. Maybe instead of limitation of liability, it might be limitation for liability or to liability. I don't know. So I want to catch all of those, but I don't want to find a document that has limitation on page 1 and liability on page 20. I want to find them within proximity of each other. So this kind of searching operator, W/5, is used in a lot of places, Lexis, Westlaw, and here in searching for documents in ProLaw as well. So I can run that search, find all the documents that meet that criteria, and then I can preview the documents to see where that text was found within the document. There are arrows here that I can go forward and backward to the next of the previous hits and see where those terms or that term was found within the context, within the text of the document itself. Or I could open the document by simply clicking on it and seeing the document in its native application. Or if I'd like to see how does this fit in the matter to which it's related. So if I click on the button here, the universal button in this system for matters, if I click on that, it will open that matter and show me the document that we just looked at in the context of this matter. So there it is, highlighted, and I can see anything else that might be related. I can see it's in a folder called contracts and so on. I could preview that document from here instead of opening it. The tracking shows its history once again, and other information like other matters that it might be related to. And there's my prompt to enter time once again.